Hello.
Hi.
I just want to introduce you to the Cycling Cindy. I'm the Pushbikegirl, and we just met in Germany, which was totally fascinating because we've been friends for so long. I think 4 years.
4 years, I think, yeah.
On Facebook, and finally we had the chance to catch up,
Yeah.
and we're now sitting in the forest for the last 2 days and talking non-stop about our adventures we had. And we would like to let you be part of it, and yeah. So Cindy,
Yes. Ask me.
um, why did you do what you did? What you did? I mean, you cycled the planet. You've been to how many countries?
I don't know exactly, maybe 50 or so. I don't know. As you know, I don't really count the countries,
Yeah,
but
okay.
I let's say between 40 and 50.
Okay,
Yeah.
so people who've never done this, they would think, sorry, but why on earth would you do that?
Yeah,
So what?
yeah.
Why?
Well, the answer is quite simple. I started out with working like everyone else does. I was working for 3 years and I realized that this is not the way I want to spend my life. I don't want to work and then have a holiday maximum 4 weeks a year and then go to a destination where I can spend my holidays and that's it.
Okay.
I have always been very curious and a bit of an adventurous nature. So I noticed that okay, I don't want to work. I don't want to work my whole life and have this little bit of a holiday. So I started to backpack. And with backpacking, that's all very adventurous and nice. You can come easily everywhere, but all the places you are going to, you only go from A to B. You step into the bus, you get out of the bus, and everything in between you don't see.
Absolutely.
So, and that is now exactly where I want to be. I don't want to watch out of the window and see all these beautiful places. I mean, usually I'm interested in nature. I don't really care about a temple or an architectural wonder. I want to see what's in between those places.
Okay.
I want to pee whenever I have to pee. I don't want to ask the driver to stop because I have to pee and then an hour later we stop.
Okay.
I want to eat when I am having an appetite and not when the bus decides that we should have some food.
Sure.
I also think that it is much nicer to meet people in between those tourist destinations because they are very different.
Yep.
Is that not what you think?
No, I totally agree with
Yeah,
you
yeah.
because it's also kind of, well, you put your own energy in it.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, of course, it's, yeah.
You go up the summit yourself, and you put a lot of effort into it, and
Yeah.
then finally you made it up on the mountains, and
Yeah,
then
it's a challenge, which
it
yeah.
is a challenge.
I find
and
the challenge does a lot for me.
yeah, sometimes it gets a bit too much, but
Yeah.
because then you think, oh, why am I doing this? But it also kind of adds to the sensation actually,
Yeah.
because and it's all, of course. I mean, you get easily in contact with the locals. You get that a bit in the bus because you're sitting next to the locals.
Yes,
But they don't usually invite you back home. Or,
No, that's no. Because if you are cycling, people invite you home. They want to care for you. They want to give you a place to sleep. They want to give
Absolutely.
you food. They actually very often admire what you are doing. They might even have the same dreams, but that is impossible for many people.
yeah.
We are very lucky to be able to do what we want to do, and it might seem a bit strange sometimes to cycle the world. I mean, it's a fact that once you start,
Well,
it's quite addictive. I find it.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when you throw your fear away, because people usually they're scared.
Were you afraid in the
At
beginning?
the beginning, yeah, sure.
For what?
Especially in the night. I mean, you never know.
Because you were camping, I guess, in your tent all the time.
I was trying, and if I didn't feel comfortable, then I thought, okay, so what am I doing now? And it got, well, by the time it was 4 o'clock or 5, and I knew it's another 2 hours sunlight, in dodgy places, then, well, I thought, okay, I better ask people if there might be a safe spot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I no longer do that.
No, it takes time to get accustomed to sleeping in the woods. Where we are in the woods. Many people think, oh, that is dangerous to sleep in the woods. That's what you hear as a first
Yeah,
reaction.
I know.
People think that,
It's dangerous.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
and then you do it for a bit of time, like you do it for a year or two, and then finally you realize
there is no better place to sleep.
and nothing ever happened to me. So what's the point to be
Yeah.
scared of? And then you, of course, that's what I do. I don't know how you do it. I follow a few rules.
Such as?
Well, you don't, if you don't know the area all that well, and you might be close to houses or something,
Yeah.
you don't turn on the light.
No, I usually I usually try to stay about 7 kilometers away from a town.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if it is possible, if I know the next town is coming up, I try not to go too close.
Okay, but sometimes, that's what I do. You reach a town, and then first of all, you fill up your water bottles.
Yes.
And sometimes if the distance to the next town is too far, I start out in the morning, because otherwise I need the extra amount of water I need for the night and for the cooking and for the breakfast.
Yeah.
And I try to save that.
Yeah, I take, if that is the case, I always take extra above what I need. I just take,
Okay.
usually I always stop right before a village or right after a village. That has become my habit. Then, if I stop right after a village, I make sure that I have enough food for the next couple of days, where there will be nothing, plus extra for that night.
Okay, sometimes I don't have enough bottles for that. Yeah, it depends, and then I usually try to eat something healthy for that evening and the night, and then because then I know, well, okay, there will be junk food for the next 2 or 3 days anyway, so I rather stick to the town.
Yeah.
You're not pitching your tent in towns?
No.
Never?
No, I prefer not to. I want, if I pitch my tent in a town, then people can see where I am.
Yeah, but yeah.
If I do it at somebody's compound, okay, then yes.
Yeah, sure.
But I really like camping so much that I want to take out of it what's in it. So
Sure.
I want to make my campfire, or I want to have my quiet time in the morning.
But when you have your campfire, I mean, you said your limit is 7 Ks. Or you're trying to get away from the last village for about 7 Ks. But then if you have your campfire, I mean, everyone can see you.
Yeah, well, in many countries there are people are making a lot of fires throughout.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so
no one knows who you are.
no, and I don't make huge campfires that there is a whole orange flame visible. So that is now not really a problem.
Okay.
I have another question for you actually.
Okay.
It's now not super healthy if I hear what you say. I mean, you cannot really stock up with much food.
No.
So this lifestyle is super simple. What do you like about that? Because it's. I mean, you are carrying very little. I carry quite a lot, and this is for me. I would like to do. I would have liked to have done what you did and what you are still doing.
You mean having less gear?
Having less gear, but I cannot do it. I always carry much more and much food.
Okay.
I like the simplicity of the lifestyle, but you are taking it a step higher. So what do you like about that super simple lifestyle? I have my embroidery going on, for example.
No, I don't have that.
You don't, but
my luxury items are my camera.
Yeah, but I have it also.
And my laptop.
Yes, for me too. But
everything else is survival.
So survival.
Yeah, I mean survival. You would call it. I mean shelter, like a tent, and my sleeping bag.
But what do you like about that simple lifestyle? I mean, there is a lot of levels between simple.
Yeah, I know, but I would say the less you have, it of course I can only speak for myself, but I would say the less you have, the more happy you are, because the less you have to take care of.
Yeah, and the less you have to be worried about, maybe.
Yeah, and you spend less money, so this gives you the benefit of exploring more, because you didn't spend so much in the first place. And I mean, it doesn't look attractive. I mean, the less you have, people think, oh, that's a poor lady. So why would I
Yeah,
steal
because
anything
we,
from
I
you?
mean, if I see your photos, we are actually always dressed in the same clothes.
Yeah, sure.
But
I have only one pair of pants. I
Yeah.
have only one pair
Yeah.
of shirts.
Yeah.
There's no more clothes in my... so it's
Yeah.
always the same.
Yeah.
That's why... sometimes, of course, my stuff is dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you wash it? If you have only one pants, how do you wash that dirty one?
Actually, I have some rain pants with me, and then if I'm somewhere, let's say in a laundromat, or if I usually don't wash my stuff in rivers. No, I don't do that.
Because of
The environment. I don't like this. And there's I mean, this world is not as remote as my people wished it would be. And then sooner or later there's something coming out where there's water, where you can find a bucket. And then depends on if I can't lock the door, then I'm just wearing my rain pants.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I also
And then just
I also don't wear anything underneath. So
No.
I have my rain jacket and
Yeah.
my rain pants, and the rest is in the bucket, and I'm
Yeah.
washing it.
Yeah.
And then it might take an hour or two until it's
Yeah.
dry.
That's
and
that's very simple style.
then,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just washing all in one go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how I do it. Or sometimes, I mean, the socks and the panties,
Yeah.
of course, you wash more often.
Yeah.
And then I hang those ones just attached to the bike, and then it's dry within a short while cycling.
Yeah. Do you always appear to be clean? I mean, to me you do, but of course now we are now not really in a remote area.
No.
But do you appear? I notice when I enter a place in a village where, for example, a pharmacia or something, I really stand out. I smell like fire. My hands are
Sure.
full with soot. My
Sure.
trouser hangs full with oil. So, but still, I think if we are appearing somewhere, in general, I think we look clean enough.
Yeah.
Does that go for you too?
No one ever ran away from me. No, and I actually, what I'm wearing is this merino wool shirt, and this really doesn't smell.
No, that's I also have a merino.
Yeah, even after 4 weeks of
No,
24 hours
I have worn it
doesn't
for a
stink.
year
Yeah.
without washing, or maybe half a year. I should maybe not overreact. Half a year
Yeah,
because I couldn't wash it because I had to wear it every day, and it
Yeah.
just doesn't stink.
no, it doesn't.
So
It
it makes
doesn't.
sense to invest maybe a little bit in. I won't say cycling clothes, but in the right
Clothes.
in the right clothes, the right
And
materials.
also, what I'm convinced about, if you wash yourself every single day, like most people do, or at least in the Western world,
Yeah.
where they have access to water. First
Yeah.
of all, I don't think this is all good for your skin.
No, I think.
But also, you smell far
yeah.
earlier.
Quicker, that's true. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the chemical reaction or what happens there, but the
Yeah.
only thing I can say,
Yeah, maybe the body is fighting harder to. I don't know, but that's true.
it's the same with washing the hair.
Yeah.
If you wash your
Yeah,
hair
I
every
wear
day,
this thing because I don't have to wash it. It's
Yeah.
easy.
so easy.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not important. You're living outside. You're having your campfire. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's just absolutely
yeah.
who cares.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
You don't get sick because you have dirty hands.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think most, well, in the society, in the environments where we are now, that is of course not possible because you have to go to the office and all. But I mean, this is how we were used to live. And,
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
and we are of course in a very luxury position. It's-
Absolutely.
I,
That
we
can-
are choosing this lifestyle and it is suiting us. And
So you know the one of the favorite questions we've been asked over and over again is, how do you finance yourself?
yeah, I worked. At first, I worked for my money. But I worked about 2 years. That's now not very much, but I don't spend very much money.
You only work 2 years in your entire life?
No. After my latest travel,
okay, I see.
I worked 2 years, but I live in with my parents, and I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't have a car, I don't have a scooter, I don't go to the cinema, I don't go to parties.
You don't buy clothes?
I make my own clothes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have a very low lifestyle where I don't spend much money. So if I earn €1,000 a month, I can set aside 700. That's quite much.
Yeah.
And I try to sell things I have in my house because I don't need them. I have, as almost everyone, gathered stuff.
So you have a house?
My parents' house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that stuff I sell. I try to whatever I get as a present or as something, I sell it.
Okay.
I am very fortunate that my parents have given me a lot of money.
Oh, okay.
And that's where I am now living on.
Oh, I see. Okay. So, and what's your average?
My average
A day. I mean, people.
€7.
€7.
But that is without a ticket, without insurance. So I have a health insurance. That is something I always have. You also have to have it when you are from the Netherlands.
You have to have it.
You must have it.
You must have
If you ever return back to the Netherlands to be part of the system, of the social system, and because I am not registered.
Yeah, we have to have a health insurance too. But what about when you're abroad? You don't have to have an insurance, don't you?
A travel insurance.
You have to have.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, you can do without it. But when you come back to the Netherlands and you register in the system and you cannot prove that you had an insurance, then you have to pay everything back. Everything of these years.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So it is. It's just better you better have it. Otherwise, you have to pay back everything.
Okay.
And usually, when you come back from a long trip, you don't have much money in the bank.
No, and I would say I would never go without an insurance. I mean, a health insurance. I don't care about the other insurances, but I would never go without an insurance.
No. And I have the most basic insurance. My teeth, for example, are not insured.
It's not covered,
but you know, if you live a healthy lifestyle, you eat healthy. You don't make these rash decisions all the time. You are cycling careful.
You're not stressed.
You are not stressed.
You do what you love.
Yeah, and you are not too of a risky person that you are going to climb trees and hang in them and jump out of them. So nothing really can happen.
Yeah.
You will have very little visits to the doctor. I went to a dentist. If you go to a dentist, I would say go to a dentist in another country, which is much more cheap.
Sure.
So I went to the dentist in Pakistan and I had many things done, and it's like cheaper. Let's say cheaper, not extremely cheap, but so that's if I have, for example, if I have to do any kind of test, because every 5 years you have to do certain tests as a woman. Yeah. I do that in a hospital where the costs are low. I mean, would I do that on my own expenses in the Netherlands? It would be very expensive. So for these kind of things, I live my life according. I mean to say, I'm not on a holiday, so I am not trying to prepare myself for a travel. It's my life. I'm living.
Sure.
If I have to do something, I do it abroad, and usually it's not a big expenses. The flight back home might be a bit expensive.
Sure.
If my camera breaks down, I have to get a new one.
But you can also paddle back.
Yeah, but
there's no ocean in between.
No, of course. Usually I try not to take airplanes, but if I go to South America, because usually I always go to the east direction, then I have to take an airplane.
So now we said all the positive things, and it sounded a bit like it's all easy going. But we both know it's not.
No,
it's not all roses.
No, sometimes I get.
So what's the downside of cycling the planet?
I like to be on my own, and I don't really need very much social contact. But there are times that I really need to be among people. That
you can have this if you want to.
Yes, but not always. I mean, you can have shallow conversations, but that's not
Yeah,
really
sure.
what I want. So,
Okay, but this is referring to the general way of traveling. I mean, if you're a foreigner in each country, where you can't speak the language, you can only have a basic conversation.
yeah, that's
So even
true.
even
Yeah,
as a backpacker.
that's true. Yeah.
So, but
So what else?
What I meant was, what is the downside? So I'm thinking more of the weather. I mean, you're exposed to the heat, you're exposed to the rain, you're exposed to the wind. I would also think what annoys me personally the most is the traffic.
Yeah, the traffic. Yeah, the traffic fences. For me, fences are very, very negative.
So why fences?
Because I am caged in. I
You
know
can't- you
freedom
cannot
is
camp where you want
no.
to.
I don't want to see a fence because then it's like I am. My freedom sort of is then. There is a barrier between where I want to go, where I look at, and where I am. I have to cross a fence, and often these fences are closed. I am often cycling long distances between fences. Even in Patagonia, I am between the fence. So you can see this beautiful nature, but you cannot really touch it.
You cannot really get there.
No, you cannot get there at all. If you are lucky, there is a hole in the fence, and then you can go there. But you can. I never could get where I want to go to. So I don't like the fences. Of course, I know why the fences are there.
And
I don't like the rain. I really hate the rain. And if you are constantly cycling in the rain, you can say, well,
sucks.
don't go to a hotel. But you know, I have chosen this lifestyle. I don't want to go to a hotel each
But
time.
sometimes you're spoiling yourself, don't you?
Yes. But only I have made a kind of rule for myself. If I am in expensive countries like Argentina or Chile, I take only a hotel once a month.
Oh, okay.
I try to avoid it, but once a month, okay, that's okay. If I am in cheaper countries, I can go ahead. I mean, then I can do that. Yeah, I can do it more easily.
Sure.
But I like camping, so I like going on in my
Yeah, but there are
tent.
also places where you can't camp because there's so many people. For instance, Central America, Southeast Asia. There's
Yeah,
so
that's
many
true.
people
Yeah.
in India. You won't pitch your tent in India.
No. I had to go to a hotel every night, and that's one of the reasons why I don't want to go back there with a bicycle.
No, I found the most annoying thing is definitely the traffic, and that's why I'm always trying to get away from the traffic. But that also means you're further away from supermarkets, from food in general, and that kind of can be a bit. Yeah, it's not so positive for your health because then you don't eat very proper food.
I have not eaten proper food since like 2 years or something. It's not possible.
Yeah, and that's not really the healthiest diet. Yeah, and then, I mean, getting back to what we started off, being by yourself. I mean, there are stretches you won't come across another foreigner or someone who speaks English for months and months.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is tough, and that won't happen when you sit in a bus or in a car.
No, because you are going from one destination where at least is a train station or a bus station or
to the next, and then there are people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. So, but after all this time on the road, would you still think that the bicycle is the best way to see the planet?
For me personally, at this moment,
Yes.
well, as you know, I have stopped cycling, so Cycling Cindy is no more actually.
The Cycling Cindy.
So
How are you calling yourself from now on?
Cindy.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's short.
yeah, and it's easier. No, I got kind of. I think I don't think I am done with it.
Tired with that. You're tired. I mean,
you mean mentally tired? I was
you're just tired of the bike. You're done with it.
Yes, I'm done with it. I'm not tired. I'm just done with it. When I
Okay.
came to you here with the bicycle, I like to see my bicycle all packed up and with all the bags, and that I know that I'm going on this simple lifestyle. But I want to keep the simple lifestyle, but not with the bicycle. So that has stopped for now. That has stopped, and I'm planning to go with the RV, with a truck, and my partner. The bicycle will go with me,
Okay.
I might do little trips, but I don't want to cycle the planet anymore because.
Oh, that's sad.
Right?
Yeah, it's so nice to have a friend out there who's doing the
But
same.
I will keep contact with you.
Hope so.
But what is your plan? I mean, are you going to continue? You have cycled for 5 years.
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5. Yeah. And you were tired. I mean,
I was super tired.
so what now? I mean, you want to keep cycling?
Yeah, after all, I decided to keep going.
Yeah. Well, you had a good rest now, so that settles the mind.
It really helped a lot, and I was back and forth and didn't really know what's next. But I will give it another shot.
Yeah.
I will just do it again.
Because the difficulty with this form of transportation, with this lifestyle, I find it very difficult to go back to what you were used to. I mean, that's impossible, right?
You mean going back home and doing the former life?
Yeah.
Oh, that's impossible.
No,